Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you happen to be new here, I'm Luna Moth and we're going to be dissecting frame by frame the 23-minute raw gameplay of GrayZone Warfare. Now I'm going to assume that you've already watched the 23 minutes. If not, please go watch it before watching this video. The gameplay opens up with our PMC heading out to do their mission, and we don't know what PMC faction does this squad belong to. It's really nice that we get to see the Helibird come in and all, but we don't really have an exact clarification either of when and how the heli request is made, and we don't know how long it took to get to the landing zone. The first oddity that I find is how on your way to the first LZ, you have a NPC that doesn't seem to interact or show any signs that it visually sees the helicopter that's about to land near him. Now, in terms of gameplay, that doesn't really bother me personally too much due to the fact that we also don't know what's the level of interaction that you as a PMC can have when you see another team in a helicopter. I don't know if you can shoot them and if that affects them, etc. A minute or so later, we get to see how your PMC interacts with foliage for the first time. And many seem to be bothered that there was no sound cues of you interacting with the foliage. And I do understand how that's an issue to some, but I need to remind you that this is in pre-alpha stage. The core mechanics of the game and the game loop supersede audio design. And even then, the audio design so far supersedes any expectations that I had about the game. Now, right before we get to see the first firefight, that there is free look in the game. Perfect for all the memes you guys are going to be creating. Now, devs don't really have a hard time here taking out these NPCs. Yet, one of our PMCs goes to the bridge to take a look at see what enemy NPCs might be ahead, and sees one at the entrance of the village. Some people in the community are bothered that this particular NPC is also not interacting with the fact that all his friends just got murdered. But I go back to gameplay. Where do we as a player draw a line where we say, oh, well, an NPC could clearly hear gunshots that are not that far away from them and they should be able to go and investigate that. And this might just well be a future tweak to AI behavior. And regardless about how anyone feels about this, it does fit a little better the notion of, well, not every NPC is going to wonder and see, hey, this happened here, let me go investigate type of deal. That way there is some level of me, the player, I know somewhat the behavior of the NPCs, where they are, where they go. Again, remember, the experience for GZW is mainly a PvE experience with the high stakes of having a PvP experience. As we approach the village, we have another firefight, and I can't stop to just notice that there is different levels of height when you're crouching, but there isn't a clear indication on the top left corner of what level you're on, but there's definitely different levels of crouching. And yes, there's two bars surrounding the PMC icon. The left side is clearly your stamina that dissipates whenever you're ADSing or you're running. And here's the moment a lot of people have been waiting for. We get to see how the healing mechanics really work and what effect does it have on you. We see a drop-down menu where we have medicine, grenades, and provisions. Your PMC gets a hit, maybe around the left side of your chest, maybe shoulder, maybe arm. Not clear on that, but the damage model shows that your chest particularly is the one that is damaged. It also indicates that you are actively bleeding and that you're in pain. Well, I'm assuming that that other icon signifies that you are in pain. And then you get hit again, but this time one of the icons changes. And I'm going to assume here that the earlier version was just you in a light pain and this one is a heavy pain. I don't know how that affects you. We don't really see how that affects your PMC's performance. What we do know is that you get hit and you promptly stop the bleeding. You don't heal yourself, you just stop the bleeding, you put on a tourniquet on your left arm. And later, after you get hit the second time, you stabilize the wounds that you've received with some bandages. We don't know to what degree that entails when the damage model of the game is based on your actual body fluids and how your body functions. And we also don't see a clear indication at first glance of I've lost X amount of blood. And now we get our first visit of an enterable building. And I have to say that I am very impressed with the environmental storytelling that they've done here. There's odds and ends just scattered all over the place. And yes, a significant amount of people in the Discord complained, hey, they could have done a better job doing CQB. And I'm here like, look, the devs are gamers at heart, right? But you can't really hold them to a ridiculously high standard. And you need to also consider that in the Discord, we were told by one of the developers called Reg that it took a pretty good amount of tries for them to just get this one specific raid without at least one of them dying. And there it is, the quest item, a phone. No clue why it's a phone, but it's a phone. Maybe it holds intel, information, log. Maybe we needed to find Timmy, and if you're in the Discord, you know what I'm talking about. Not a minute later, we get to see once again the inventory system. Our PMC opens their menu, where we see back, map, character, and tasks. But more importantly, we see blue blips of our fellow squad mates. Now, some of you might have an existential crisis over how this is being implemented, right? Where you just click a button and boom, it appears in front of you. I would have liked, or maybe suggest, to see something around the lines of Stalker, where you have this PDA that you interact with, and then you have your tasks, you have the map, you interact with it with buttons, etc. Maybe it's touchpad. I think you understand where I'm going, right? And for those who have been complaining about this specific aspect, come on. PMCs not being able to see blips of themselves and their teammates around them on a GPS, if anything, it helps you identify who to shoot and not to shoot. If you really think about it, it allows you to have a better spatial awareness of where are your teammates. Right after a little small fight they had crossing the bridge, they come into this intersection where more enemy NPCs are waiting. Your PMC gets hit. The AI seems to be doing some tactical maneuvers, moving around, getting a better shot at your NPC, or at least that's what it looks like. Hopefully the AI has some level of intelligence of trying to take you out as fast as possible. And that's not even thinking about how the NPCs might actually disengage and try to heal themselves. While also keeping in mind, this is a low level area. So these NPCs are supposed to be the easiest ones for you to engage with. And I'm not personally saying that the devs have skill issues. Like, come on, there's a learning curve. Things can go wrong. We don't know if every single attempt they'd had, NPCs were in different places. They had different behaviors. They heard you, X, Y, Z. You don't know, right? We don't know. Therefore, I have to give them the benefit of the doubt of us seeing this in raw format. We got what we got. We have to take it at face value. Maybe our experience will be different and will be different, since at the end of the day, this is pre-alpha. It's right there at the bottom right of the corner of the screen. We don't know. This is a work in progress. We will see only growth from here on out. And I'm pretty sure all of you have your own opinions, and I want you to voice them out, not only in the comment section. Join the Discord. I will link it down in the description. And I promise you that they read absolutely every single suggestion that you make on the Discord. I kid you not. They have, I think it was weekly meetings of like, hey guys, this is the X amount of suggestions we got this week on the Discord, and let's talk about them. Do we like this one? Do we actually implement this one? Etc. And now we get to see what the blood mechanics look like. Our teammate throws down a blood pack, and I really like that you have the options either to take it or to immediately use it right there and then. Now things are a little bit more interesting. We actually get to see how has the raid impacted you thus far. We see that you have 4,845 blood, 48 of 100 hydration, 60 out of 100 energy. Notice that the blood set on your inventory has 2 uses. We don't know if that necessarily means that if you had X amount of blood left, you could still use it regardless of how much blood you needed. That would be a very interesting mechanic where you just get to use it and recuperate the amount of blood that you're missing regardless of actually needing an exact amount. And for all of you nitpickers out there, yes, on the top right corner there is a indication that you are squad. It says 0 out of 0. We don't exactly know what that means. Perhaps they just haven't ironed out the UI of counting how many of you are alive. Maybe, we don't know. What I can say though is that I can see the global chat for your PMC icon. And next to it, perhaps the in-game friend list. I genuinely have no idea. This was really funny. I don't know if that was a dev or the actual NPC. Regardless, that was hilarious, and if that's the type of voice lines they're going with when they're surprised of your vicinity, I can't really wait until I hear more. We also get to see a shoulder switch, meaning that we're going to have an easier time cleaning out corners and having CQB. It also mitigates a little bit Peeker's advantage. I mean, obviously, the ping has a huge factor in that, but at least it mitigates it a little better. I want to take this time to talk about looting. Looting was not showcased whatsoever during this raw footage, and I know many, including myself, have complained about it. And be rest assured, Mara himself showed up in the chat and cleared it up by confirming to us that there is loose loot, of course, and loot boxes, and there's obviously loot from AIs that we have seen previously in other trailers and players, and you can sell and use them as you please. Now we're coming up on the second building that we go into on this playthrough. Our PMC decides that it wants to verify how many rounds it has on its magazine, and it has 3. Proceeds to reload to have a full mag. Now, we don't know details about packing mags, whether or not you can individually switch out bullet types, etc. But it definitely seems like that might be the case. And now they just picked up another quest item. We don't know if it's the same quest. I'm going to assume that might be the case, that this is all one whole quest, based on them saying that the whole point of this raw gameplay was showcasing one raid in and out. Now we're here towards the end of our deployment into Lamang. PMC decides to open the map to call an extract, and we get to see the biggest chunk of the map shown so far. And I don't know, but that red zone on top sure looks like the exclusion zone, officially now named Ground Zero, where we will meet the hardest NPCs, which we are currently assuming are pre-Lamang conflict era military. And that's it. We wait now for the heli to come pick us up. We check up on our own health, our rations. We decide to now drink water. This is the moment where we talk to our teammates about the experience, how it went. Somebody's probably laughing their ass off. I don't know. And looking back into this precise moment, the view, the scenery, the peace and tranquility. I mean, remember, this is not necessarily how it's going to go. Sometimes you'll have raids like this where you don't meet anybody. Sometimes you'll be on your way out and somebody's on their way in and you'll probably see their heli going above you. Hey, and a second ago, you just got notified. 60 seconds, 1 minute. That is the amount of time you have to what I assume is safety. I say safety because we don't know if you can shoot at people while they're in their heli. We don't know if you can just pop shot them off and then their loot falls. We don't know, right? Soon after, now you've been notified by the pilot that he is approaching your AO. Now, our PMC is being a little cautious here. They're just looking over the horizon to see if they see anybody approaching their AO before proceeding to the LZ. Notice that just like at the beginning, the environment and the trees all are affected by the gust of winds produced by the helicopter. And as our PMCs are on their way to conclude their deployment, I sincerely hope that you guys have enjoyed this gameplay as much as I did. If I missed anything that you'd like to point out, please do so in the comment section below. Don't forget to join the GZW Discord. Thanks for being here. You're awesome, and have a great day.
Darkness.